Should you be contacting your ex on a holiday such as Christmas? And if so, how exactly should you go about doing that? That's what we're going to be talking about in just a moment. But first, my name is Clay with modernlove.life, where we help you get the great loving relationship that you're looking for without having to play mind games, without having to play hard to get, and without having to pretend to be someone or something that you are not. Because I believe that you deserve to be loved for the unique, amazing, and wonderful person that you are. And if you agree with me, do me a favor by giving this video a thumbs up and by subscribing if you're not already subscribed. So this is my first live video in probably a few months now. And the reason for that is because, of course, I did overcommit myself a little bit with our coaching program in September, October, November. That's complete. I have a little bit of time off, and of course, immediately as soon as that happened, I became sick. I don't know if you can tell by my voice, but I am at the tail end of a cold. So I'm hoping that this continues to get better over the next few days and that I can continue to do these live videos moving forward. But as I mentioned on YouTube, I am starting to also share some shorter pre-recorded videos as well too, because people have requested those in the past. So I'm hoping to do kind of a mix of these live streams and also pre-recorded videos. So we'll see how that goes. I think that'll kind of satisfy everybody. For the people with the longer attention spans, I've got these. For the people with the shorter attention spans, I've got the shorter videos as well too. And I also finally got my new microphone. If you watched one of my previous videos, I mentioned that I am pretty sure I accidentally forgot my my old microphone that I used for live streaming in the hotel room that I was at in Scottsdale, Arizona, about a month ago. And so I needed to get a new one. I thought, well, hey, I'll just wait for Cyber Monday to maybe save a few bucks. It did not go on sale, unfortunately, so I had to pay full price. And then, of course, I got sick, so had to wait that out. But anyway, I hope the audio is fine on this. But with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the topic of this video, which is, first of all, should you be contacting your ex on Christmas, or if you happen to be watching the replay of this video some other time of the year, on a holiday in general? And let's get this straight. Not everybody wants to get back together with their ex. If you do not want to get back together with your ex, and there's no particular reason you need to stay in contact with them, maybe you don't have kids together, you don't work together, you don't have mutual friends or anything like that, then there's no reason that you need to contact your ex on Christmas or any other holiday, especially if you have no interest in keeping them in your life. If, however, you do have an interest in keeping your ex in your life and you do want to remain on good terms with them, then here's what I would keep in mind. So first of all, this time of year, we do have the holiday expectation effect. I talked about that a couple videos ago on the whole dealing with the holidays in your ex video, on the no contact during the holidays in your ex video, and all of that stuff. But as we are in the holiday season, pretty much anybody in, probably most countries out there are going to feel the presence of the holidays. It doesn't even matter if you're religious. If you're just in like the United States or some other Western country that kind of makes a big deal about Christmas, you're going to feel the presence of the holiday expectation effect. And this can come from the songs that you hear on the radio, the TV specials, those little claymation ones, or whatever the case may be. You'll feel this presence that this time of year is different. This time, the rules do not apply. You can go ahead and make those grand romantic gestures and all of that. This is just your thinking. This is not any sort of real, concrete thing that's happening. Again, the rules have not changed. All of the things that I've talked about in the several hundred other videos on this channel do not change. It's just our thinking and, of course, your ex's thinking that is changing during this period of time. So before you do anything regarding your ex, any sort of big grand romantic gesture, anything like that, ask yourself, is this just the holiday expectation effect? And if it is, then you may want to second guess it. That's not to say that you should not do it. There are definitely times to contact your ex, times to buy your ex a gift, and all of that. But you definitely do not want to ignore the general rules and guidelines that I have explained in many of the other videos on this channel. Also, the holiday expectation effect is going to have an effect on your ex as well too. The holiday expectation effect basically is a narrative that goes through your mind that says, hey, it's the holiday season, it's the time to be with people that you love, you should be in a relationship, your life should be looking kind of like you hoped it would. You know, it's kind of the end of the year, you want to make sure that your life is kind of moving in the right direction. And so this can cause people to really become polarized when it comes to breakups, when it comes to their ex and things of that nature. So your ex may get much closer to you during this time of year, or your ex may pull much further away from you during this time of year, especially if they have a rebound relationship or other romantic interest in their life, or especially if there are lingering hurt feelings between the two of you. So if you and your ex are getting closer this time of year, then understand, first and foremost, that this may not be an organic connection. It may just be driven by this external force of the holiday expectation effect. So understand that there may be a pullback as we move forward into January and 2020. And don't just rely on sort of the hype and the fumes of the holidays to get you through all of this. You actually want to work on forming that concrete and substantial emotional connection between you and your ex, using many of the things that we've talked about in all the other videos and on our newsletter over at modernlove.life and all of that stuff. But if your ex is pulling away from you, also understand that that could really just be the effect of the holiday expectation effect. And that as New Year's starts to roll in and as we start to move into the new year, a lot of that negativity towards you may start to recede and your ex may start to become closer together with you at that point. They may start to be more open to getting closer together with you. Especially as the rose-colored goggles of the holiday season start to fade away, and your ex's rebound relationship is not going to look all that great, amazing, wonderful, all that. Once they're actually clear of the holiday expectation effect. With that being said, also don't worry if your ex is spending the holidays with someone else. I know a lot of people are worried that if my ex spends the holidays with somebody else, it's going to cement their relationship in place, and then it's going to go from a rebound relationship to a real relationship, whatever that may be. But you don't need to worry about that. It's not like come March or something they're going to be like, this relationship I'm in is not looking so great, but hey, we spent Christmas together, therefore we have to make it work. It doesn't work like that. If the connection is not there, the connection is not there. And if the connection during the holiday season is not organic, it's just simply not organic, and there's going to be setbacks and pullbacks that will inevitably come as the holiday expectation effect starts to recede, and they're going to actually have to start to deal with whatever may actually be present in their connection or relationship with whoever they may be with, whether that's you or with a rebound partner. So with all that being said, once again, give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already. I noticed some more people joining the live stream. Thank you very much. We'll get to the super chats in a few moments once I'm done with this, talking segment here. But without all that being said, should you be contacting your ex? Now, if you're not in a great place with your ex, and if your ex is in a pretty negative state of mind towards you, just know that contacting your ex and saying Merry Christmas or Happy Hanukkah or whatever the case may be is unlikely to actually change their perception of you. So if you're walking into this with an expectation that okay, I'm going to wish them Merry Christmas, I'm going to wish them a Happy Holidays or something, and they're going to suddenly soften up towards me, then kind of let go of that and just say, okay, knowing that they're probably not seeing me in the best possible light, do I still want to wish them or contact them or wish them a season's greetings or whatever, um, given the fact that this is probably not going to revive whatever we had, create some sort of connection or anything like that. If it is something that you still feel compelled to do, because maybe it's like, hey, I care about them, I want to wish this message to them, even if I get nothing back, then hey, sure, by all means, go ahead and do it. But if it's coming with strings attached and you're thinking, like, oh, hey, if I send this message, they're going to fall in love with me again or something like that, then probably not a great idea. That is what I'd recommend if you're not on great terms with your ex. If you're not on great terms with your ex and your ex is upset with you for something specific this time of year, you may want to consider using the fresh start letter or something like that in order to clear away any emotional hurt. Or, absolutely nothing wrong with waiting until this whole holiday season is over so that you do not have to mess with the holiday expectation effect. If, on the other hand, you are on good terms with your ex, there are a lot of people out there who I'm either working with or who I know are watching these videos who are actually on pretty good terms with their ex. They're like very close to getting back together, or they may actually be back together. They just don't know it yet. It's probably a good idea to contact your ex on the holidays. It's probably a good idea to wish them a happy holiday and all that stuff. I know that there are a lot of really hard people on the internet and on YouTube that say that you should never, ever, 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 ever contact your ex. But again, that is not my approach on things. You have to look at each situation specifically and individually. And if you want to get back together with your ex and the two of you are on pretty good terms and it makes sense for you to do so, and contacting them and wishing them a happy holiday or Merry Christmas or something like that is likely to bring the two of you closer together on an emotional level, then there is no real reason not to contact your ex on the holidays. In fact, not contacting them could actually drive a wedge between you and set you back, because they could easily start to build resentment, saying like, oh, we were getting close and you didn't even bother to wish me Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever, or you didn't even bother to get me a gift and I got you this gift or something. And you have to think about these things. So don't just try and find some sort of like blanket statement out there like never, ever, ever contact your ex. Always wait for them to contact you. Make them wait until they're crawling over shards of broken glass in order to be with you before you even acknowledge their existence. Don't worry about that fortune cookie advice. That's not the best approach in my many years of experience to do that. So these are some things to think about. If you do decide to contact your ex and you're trying to get their attention or something like that over the holidays, I would not recommend that you send a generic Merry Christmas text, because they're probably going to get a lot of those from their friends, the other people in their life, stuff like that. And you want your message to stand out. You don't just want to be kind of buried in like the 20 other text messages that they get that say, hey, happy holidays or something. You want it to be something that is a little bit more unique, a little bit more personal, something that maybe you can relate to something specific, some sort of memory, some sort of thing that you shared together or something like that that will stick out in their mind and let them know that, hey, you put some real thought and effort into this. Now, don't go overboard in most cases. Again, think about this individually on a case-by-case basis. But, generally speaking, you don't want to do like the pour your heart out kind of message where, you're just kind of like going a little bit way overboard here. But show them some degree of emotional investment, not just like, you typed up something like, hey, Merry Christmas, send. But let them know, hey, I was just at whatever store, something came up. It reminded me of maybe a previous memory that we had together. It reminded me of something else that we shared maybe on a previous holiday season or something like that, just to let them know that you're thinking of them in a real meaningful sort of way. And you never know, it could reopen the channel of communication. But again, you have to keep the whole holiday expectation effect dynamic in mind as you are considering whether or not you want to do this. Absolutely nothing wrong like I said before, in waiting until the new year and waiting until 2020 to contact your ex. For most people out there, trying to contact their ex during the holiday season is going to be much, much more difficult and challenging than simply just waiting until what I would call normal time to contact their ex, which is to say outside of the holiday season. And we'll get to this in a few weeks, but there is sort of a short window during the first 2 weeks of February leading into Valentine's Day when things are a little bit weird as well too. But outside of those two windows of time, at least in the United States, that's when there are less challenges. Perhaps in some other country where there's some other very significant and meaningful holidays, you may need to navigate around those. But really, just the holiday season and right before Valentine's Day are really the only times when things are a little bit more tricky. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with waiting until after these holiday seasons pass before contacting your ex. So potentially waiting until January to contact your ex, or potentially waiting until after Valentine's Day to contact your ex. But again, we'll get to all that Valentine's Day stuff, as we get into January and February. But anyway, that's what I'd recommend when it comes to guidelines for contacting your ex or not contacting your ex during the holiday season, during Christmas, so on and so forth. Before we go ahead and get into the questions from you guys, please, once again, do me a favor, give this video a thumbs up. It really does help. Every thumbs up and comment and interaction kind of tells the YouTube algorithm, hey, this is a video that's nice and maybe I should show it to more people. And it kind of helps me out. So please give the video a thumbs up or subscribe or leave a comment or whatever the case may be. With that being said, let's get to the Q&A. I saw there were a few super chats. Again, my understanding of internet etiquette is that I must respond to super chats. So let's get into this. We have a comment from Cornell. They say, my ex reached out, I guess, and told me that we'll never get back together. She placed boundaries. She's open to going to dinners and movies. She is dating someone else. More below. I guess there's another comment below. Scanning for that comment. Maybe you mean more above. I don't see any other comments from you there, friend. So I'm just going to go ahead and address this. So your ex is in a rebound relationship with somebody else. Now, obviously she cares for you, and I remember your previous comments, several weeks ago before I had to take my little bit of a hiatus due to my coaching commitments and all of that. But you and your ex seems to be getting very close together, and your ex was enjoying spending time with you. Now, if your ex is seeing somebody else, you have to understand that nobody goes into a new relationship thinking like, okay, whatever, it's just going to be with somebody. No, they go into a relationship most of the time with the best of intentions in mind. That is to say, your ex probably really wants to make this relationship work because, number one, they came out of a relationship with you and nobody wants to have back-to-back breakups. That's going to make them feel really bad about themselves, make them think that there's something wrong with them. Maybe they're not good at relationships or whatever. But in addition, people generally get into relationships and they think, I'm going to make this relationship work. This is a relationship that I think I can make work. I should really give it my best shot. And so because of that, she's likely to put these certain boundaries up between what the two of you can do because she doesn't want to disrespect this new relationship. And so what you want to do if you want to get back together with her and create a connection with her is you want to honor those boundaries, let her know that you're not trying to force something that's not there, and then you also want to move forward by actually creating an emotional connection between the two of you and deepening that emotional connection because there is something between the two of you unless something dramatically changed since the last time I got an update on your situation. So you really want to acknowledge the boundary, acknowledge that she's in a new relationship because she's not really going to be able to let go of this thought of like, okay, I need to feel like I'm doing the best I possibly can until she hears from you that you understand that she's in a new relationship. once she understands that you understand that she's in a new relationship, she'll start to let go of that, and she'll start to say, okay, well, I'm just gonna do what feels good. I'm gonna kind of surrender a little bit more because she knows that you know that she's in a new relationship, and she knows that you know that you're going to try to acknowledge and respect that, but at the same time, interacting with you feels good. And as you can continue to build that positive interaction, she's going to grow closer and closer and closer to you. And as long as that emotional connection and interactions that you're having with her are stronger than the ones that she's having with her rebound partner, she's going to naturally start to emotionally drift closer to you and further away from this other person. And eventually, when she's more close to you than she is with the other person, that's when it will become pretty easy for her to let go of that relationship and get back together with you. You know, I've seen this time and time again with coaching clients and people that I've worked with over the years. But you know, you have to be willing to be patient. You have to be willing to focus on the emotional connection, and you have to be willing to really build a strong emotional foundation first. Okay, there's not any sort of shortcut to this. It's really about building trust, building emotional connection, and really acknowledging where she's at and kind of slowly letting her drift towards you by having the interactions between the two of you feel good. So once again, thank you very much for the super chat, and I hope that helps you out. I saw that there was another super chat here in the chat section. Let me scroll to that. Okay, there it is. All right, let me see if I can. Okay, that's from Danielle, and okay, here we go. Okay. My ex said that he wants to make it work, but doesn't have a clear commitment yet. I told him, don't fade away on me. Oops, where did that go? Doesn't have a clear commitment yet. I told him if he wants to see me over the holidays, he has to make a decision because it's been months. Is this okay? All right, so it really depends on what his main concern is. It sounds to me, from how you're describing this, that he may potentially be at the crisis point when it comes to his 5 stages that he goes through. And when it comes to the crisis point, you really want to zero in on what is the crisis that your ex is going through. So what is the main thing that's keeping him from wanting to get back together with you? And you know, it's not that you really want to do an ultimatum in this regard, but you really want to let him know that, like, okay, this is what I'm committed to. I'm committed to being in a relationship, a committed, defined relationship with somebody. If you're not, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But it just means that I may need to step back and decrease our connection, decrease the amount of time that we spend together if that's the case. You know, because some reservations and hesitations that are keeping him from actually following those positive feelings and actually committing to you. So you want to apply positive pressure by leveraging the positive emotions that you've already built up between him, by letting him know, hey, I really enjoy spending time with you. And then you also want to say, hey, I have my own set of standards, my own boundaries, my own things that I'm going for in life and in a relationship. And if you can't honor them, that's okay, because you're in your own journey, you have your own things that you're dealing with. But it means that I might need to distance myself from you in order to get my needs met. Again, having your needs met is absolutely important. Many times people will overlook this part in getting back together. Do not overlook this part. Your needs are absolutely important, and you should always make sure that your needs are met. So many times people will just sort of like abandon their own needs and just bend over backwards, being completely available, completely at their ex's beck and call and whims and all of that stuff. Because they think that if my ex is happy, taken care of and all of that, then they'll want to commit to me. And to a certain degree, that may be true, but you should never, ever, ever sacrifice your own needs, sacrifice what's important to you, sacrifice what you want. So, you know, lay down some boundaries, but don't do the whole ultimatum thing, because you're not trying to make him wrong. You're not trying to punish him. You're just simply trying to inform him that you have your own standards. And if the two of you in your current dynamic are not meeting your standards, then, you know, you may need to start to disengage a little bit and start to look elsewhere in order to get your standards met. Now, because you have built up a stronger emotional connection between you and him, as you kind of do this, it should leverage the existing emotional connection that you have. He will not want to lose that, and so he'll probably be a little bit more open to telling you what his concerns are, or getting closer to you, or maybe realizing that maybe his concerns aren't that big of a deal. Do this in addition to addressing whatever his specific concerns might be. If he's concerned that maybe the two of you are just going to argue all the time, then maybe you need to address that specifically and say, hey, yeah, we did argue a lot when we were together, but I don't know if you've noticed, but over the past few months, we haven't really been arguing at all. In fact, maybe I'm wrong, but to me, it seems like we've been getting along really well. Have you enjoyed our time together over the past few months? And, have a discussion about it. But you really want to zero in on what that crisis he may be going through might be. Because the reason he's not committing to you is because he's having this crisis. He's having this thing that he has to deal with to take the idea of getting back together with you from an interesting intellectual concept, or like, hey, what might it be like if I spend more time with Danielle? Could we get back together? I don't know. Let's think about it. Let's see what this is like. To actually taking it into the real world, where it's like, okay, I'm ready to take actual real actions to get back together with Danielle, such as ending a rebound relationship, such as admitting to all of my friends and family that we've been seeing each other and that we're getting back together, such as admitting that maybe I was wrong about you, such as other sorts of hesitations, reservations, or concerns that are still unmet, such as, well, maybe whatever we went through when we initially broke up is still unresolved. Maybe some of the problems are still kind of up in the air. There are some things said, some feelings hurt, whatever. You need to address those. In addition to, leveraging that positive connection that we talked about earlier. So I hope that helps you out, and thank you again, both of you, for your super chats. With that being said, we are about at the half-hour mark, and I know that people don't like these videos to go on for much longer than half an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. But thank you so much for watching. Please, once again, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to this channel if you are not already. And if you'd like more help, tips, guidance, please check out modernlove.life/quiz so you can get on our newsletter to get updates about what is going on and how to navigate through this holiday season ahead. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time.